And 3, 2, 1. Welcome to another edition of Indian Cine-MANIACS. What's going on, Maniacs?
Hey, how's it going?
Wow, you guys, this is how television works. You know, there's editing involved. Some things aren't real. All right.
Wait a minute. I thought this was reality television.
It is. Oh, that's right. It's non-scripted. It's non-scripted. So we can't.
Reality TV, right?
Can't get in trouble.
That's right.
All right. So we're going to do John and Drew, somebody sent this film to you guys, both of you guys separately.
I think we each got it from two separate people. I can just tell you.
And the film is, hang on.
Dangal.
Dangal.
This is probably the most requested film we've done.
Yeah, 2016.
Okay. So we're going to do this film, and then I am going to take a break for the month of August to refresh and get the production studio a little more up to snuff. So that'll be very exciting. And in the meantime, for August, John is going to continue his 10-minute reviews with
10-ish minutes.
10-ish minute. I made up that
Not
name.
10-ish.
I don't even remember.
All right. So wait, Ralph, before you get into this, I just want to say I don't want our audience out there, the ones who have been roasting Ralph for the last few movies, to think you are the reason why he's taking the month off.
No.
Okay, that's
I could care less about that.
It's
We
not because
love roasted Ralph.
Not because of the
Particularly
views
with
that he was
Basil.
taking for his takes on certain movies. The whole arrow thing, 5 arrows coming out of the quiver.
That was way more than 5.
Nothing to do with it.
The fast dancing and RRR sped up.
So that's right. So what we're going to do is, so we're not going to do this big show with everybody for a month, so Ralph can take a break and we can come back stronger in September. But I'm going to continue my 10-ish minute reviews. So what I'm going to do is, we still have viewer choices left, and I want to make sure we get to those before the summer's out, because you guys took the time to do the polls. So I'm going to have individually each member of the YKY team come on to the 10-ish minute show and talk about one of those films. So over the next 4 weeks, I'll do more than just those, but I'm going to have everybody on to talk about a movie from the list we had, so we can keep the content going.
Even Chris?
Even Chris, who sometimes, negative Chris. And because of the kind of commitment we're going to have, even without our leader, and Ralph is our leader, and he lets us know that almost on a weekly basis.
That's why we call him Great Leader.
That's why we call him Great Leader. We think now that should be the time that we've earned your subscription, and you want to hit the notification button so you know when these videos come out. And the last thing you want to do, and again, it's a small thing for you, but it's a big thing to the channel. Please hit that like button.
Yeah, and I can almost promise that I'll watch your shows during the month. And if
Will you like it though?
If I do,
subscribed.
If I do, I'll definitely like it, and I might even comment, as I tend to do on.
Well,
your show.
you certainly don't shy from commenting, Ralph.
I do not. So, all right. So let's talk about Dangal, John, or Drew.
Okay. So, well, listen, I'm the Aamir Khan groupie, so let me talk about this movie.
Go ahead.
So we've been talking about this movie for a long time, and everyone knows I'm a Aamir Khan suck up, and everyone says you got to watch this movie, you got to watch this movie, you got to watch this movie. Well, we've never been able to, because it's not available with English subtitles. So a couple of our viewers, but I'm going to talk about the one who got it to me, Wolverina Pagan. Wolverina Pagan sent me a copy of this. Of an excellent copy, by the way, with English subtitles. She also has given me access. She's got a huge digital library of some of the films that we aren't able to stream here, that she said I can go through, and anything I want, she will make available to me in some way. So thank you so much for that. And Drew, I don't remember the name of the person who sent you yours. Do you remember?
No.
Okay. Someone else did send it, though. We really appreciate that. I got to tell you, because we got P.O. boxes and they're useless. Okay. They're getting cobwebs, but these digital things are fantastic. And again, the copy was great. So this movie came out in 2016, and it's a story of Mahavir Singh Phogat, who was this is a real story, who was a wrestler. He was a national champion. who wanted the gold medal for India, but because you couldn't make any money wrestling, he gave it up. So he taught his daughters at a very young age to wrestle to win for India. And it's a wonderful story because it's true. I will say this reminded me a little of like Stars on Earth, because the first hour of this movie, it was very close to child abuse in my eyes. And it was kind of uncomfortable what he was doing to these girls. And it's only later on in the film does the real motivation come out, and as a result of that, the girls really grasp what's going on. There's a scene where the training scenes in this are brutal for the young girls, and they're done with it. They don't want to do it anymore. They end up going to a wedding, a 14-year-old girl's wedding. And she says, I wish I had a father like you that wanted more than to just marry his daughter off at 14 and stay in the kitchen. And that's what this movie's about. It's about female empowerment for the time that this movie came out in India. It was a very big deal. That, I'm sorry, hold on one second, you guys. Okay, every now and then I get this ringing in my head. But so I want to say this. So with all the 10-ish minute reviews I've done, I've seen a lot of excellent actors. John Abraham, Shah Rukh Khan, who's the biggest thing in India, SRK, Ajay Devgan. But I got to tell you, and I know I'm biased on this, what Aamir Khan did in this movie is one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. The fact that he put on almost 60 pounds to play the older character. And then, so those scenes were all filmed first. And then he lost all the weight. It took him 20 weeks to lose he lost 21 kilograms. And if you look at the scenes where they showed him younger, first they showed him first they showed him a little bit older, but still jacked when he wrestled the guy in the workplace. But then they showed him at 25 where he was ripped even more. But the majority of the movie, like, he takes off his shirt at one point, and
he looks like me.
He's just fat. I mean, he's huge. But his performance in this is just my thing about these other actors that I just described, they're kind of playing a variation of their persona, especially SRK, definitely SRK. This guy, he's like De Niro in my eyes. He inhabits these characters and he becomes these people. And they call him a real method actor. But the performance in this is just amazing. The wrestling scenes are incredible. I mean, like they're not, it doesn't seem like they're holding back much the way they're flipping everybody over. The female performances are excellent. And I recognize the younger version of Geeta was the same young lady who starred in Secret Superstar. And she's a Muslim who, due to some backlash from her country, doesn't do films anymore, which I think is a shame because she's wonderful in this and in Secret Superstar. Her name is Zaira Wasim. But obviously, the older Geeta, which Fatima Sana Shaikh, was excellent in the film. All the roles were really good in this film. It is Aamir Khan's show, as far as I'm concerned. I will say it wasn't perfect. The one thing I did not like about the film was the way they demonized the coach, the Nationals coach, and the twist ending. And this movie came out in 2016, so there's going to be spoilers. When he got locked away and never got to see his daughter wrestle, that never happened. So that was just for this film, and I thought it was almost ridiculous. Now, I will say that the scene where he's locked in and here's the national anthem playing and his reaction to it, I thought was an amazing thing, but it was too almost Hollywood for me. I did not like that, but I really loved this movie. I thought it was really well done. Again, the performance to me, he's just an amazing actor. I really love everything. Not everything, but I really love him in this. And I can't wait to hear what you guys, I'm probably thinking about way too high. I can't wait to hear what you guys think. Wolverina, thank you so much, by the way. So anyway, that's what I thought about
it. I'm conflicted about this film because of what he did to his daughters. and because of his motivation. His motivation was the fact that he could never do what he wanted to do, and because his disappointment every time a daughter was born, he's waiting for a son to put that in him. It was only because the girls showed him they could fight that he had. And I understand the idea that it's females, and that woman, that young bride was saying, look, you can grow up and just be a housewife, or you guys can do what you're doing. But he tortured these girls, and it was all for himself.
Well, wait,
let me finish.
But that's not right.
Let me finish.
All right.
How many years did they train? Every single day of their life.
Yeah.
Cutting their hair, not letting them eat sweets. I mean, it was all for him. So, conflicted about his motivations for what he was doing. The wrestling scenes, the female actresses were fantastic. I couldn't get over it. You're right about the wrestling scenes looking completely legitimate. I didn't see anybody pulling any punches on that one. And I'm sure that the wrestlers that they used at the end, the female who was playing the Scottish lady, they're probably all real wrestlers and stuff. And I just thought that
they were scary.
It was very realistic. But I just felt I see what you're saying. He gained weight, okay, and he did a great job with the wrestling scenes, but I just found his motivations to be a conflict for me. Now it was produced by Disney. So maybe that's why it's
a
woke,
weird combination,
right? Why it's woke
to see.
And it was to see that come up was kind of weird. I don't know. I'm conflicted. I didn't like his motivations.
I just want to clear up one thing. His motivation wasn't for him. His motivation was he wanted the gold for India. That's what he wanted. That was his motivation. And to be fair, once they were aware of why he was doing these things, they embraced it. And in reality, wanted to do this and were hugely successful as a result of what he did, and was able to get out of that little village where you're expected to be in the kitchen all the time. So I don't disagree with you that, like I said, the first half of this, the first quarter of this movie was tough to watch. But the way they framed it at the end, look, she gave him all the credit at the end when she was at that podium.
Well, of course. I mean, that's kind of Stockholm syndrome too. I get it. I get the idea that just let me finish.
All right.
I understand the idea that the whole point of this is that the female wrestlers won for India. That's why this movie is the feel-good movie that you're talking about. It's because they won for their country and they were female. And yes, they came out of they were raised out of their position they would have probably been in had they just kept the normal track. The movie I thought about, and I haven't seen it, so I can't, is the movie with Will Smith about the Williams.
I was just going to bring that up.
King Richard, where it's kind of the same idea, where his obsession made them hugely successful. And looking back, you go, okay, whatever he did right. But in the time that they were, when he was training them, I felt terrible for those kids. And I don't know, I can't separate myself from. Yeah, I felt like their
haircut scene was brutal.
And the fact that every time he had a baby and it was a girl, he was just, I don't know. There was something not right for me in this one. And I couldn't enjoy it. And I loved the wrestling scenes. I thought the wrestling scenes were fantastic. Now, you're talking about the clownish coach. I mean, he was a clown. He wasn't they didn't make him. He was just it was a cliche.
Yeah, but he was evil. I mean, he kept the father from being there. It's just
because the father was shouting from the stands. I mean, I
get
understand.
it, but it didn't really happen. So why do it?
Okay, well, I didn't know that.
Why do that,
John? I mean,
that's what we would call a dick move.
Yeah,
it's not evil, but it's
it's conflict, right? You need conflict in a story if you're writing a story.
That movie didn't have enough conflict.
I know that's not how the story actually ended, of course, and her final bout in reality, she won in 2 rounds. So you want to make it more dramatic for the movie.
Right.
I have no problem with that. But I think, I'm with Ralph in that this movie is very rousing and also troubling. And I don't think it's really a story of female empowerment because they're children and they don't have agency. It's all shaped by their father's dreams, not their own dream. But and I of course thought about the Williams sisters, Tiger Woods, Michael Jackson, anybody whose parents make all those choices. And I know at least 2 people in my life that have done or are doing this with their children. And I am kind of curious to see what will happen if their children grow up and say, I don't want this. I don't have that dream, which is fine. And the real the real wrestler apparently trained all 4 of his daughters, and I guess his nieces as well. Like it was a whole family industry. And I did like at the end where it was clear that there was a wrestling school and other girls were there and everything. But I liked that he got locked up, not only because him hearing the national anthem was beautiful. That was really a wonderful scene, but also because it does make it that she has to do it on her own.
Yeah.
You know, you can only get her so far, and then she's on the mat alone, and she's got a coach she doesn't trust, and she's got her father who's not there, and she still won. And of course, as soon as they told you how you score 5 points, you know that's how that's going to end. I mean, this is such a fun, it's such a fun, rousing, popular entertainment. I had a blast. I laughed. I cried. I thought that all the actresses were amazing. Aamir Khan was amazing. He's interesting because he makes these movies where he's not quite the center. Yeah, which is kind of modest actually for an actor and producer of his stature, and I thought that was interesting. Like it's definitely his story, but especially in the second half, his daughters get more time. Definitely. I will say though, it was an adjustment to switch from the younger actresses to the older ones, because I totally dug what those younger actresses were doing. I thought they were incredible. Yeah. But I guess they also trained for like 6 months, 9 months.
They had to, the way
something like that to make the wrestling authentic. And I believed it. I've done a bunch of grapple sports in my life, and I've never done any mud wrestling like that, but it looked like both a good time and also really painful. Yeah. And they sold me on that, so I believed it, and that was fun.
Well, he got hurt pretty bad. He was out for a couple of weeks. He did something to his back or his shoulder or something.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Well, he's carrying around that kind of weight, doing those flips and everything. I mean, it's just.
Well, there was that scene where he wrestled with her. I thought he was going to have a heart attack. I thought that's what
was going to happen.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah. Instead, his heart was just broken and humiliated.
That's right.
So, Debbie, what were you going to say?
Wow, this movie really spoke volumes to me as a woman, and here's why. Because in our society, as well as their society, women have always been and always continue to be what we say is second-class citizens.
Yeah, less than.
Less than. So
except here.
Okay, so.
And the Barbie movie.
Like I said, you know, as it is in India, the women, you know, in their society have, you know, to be mothers that feed the family. You know, that's the way it is. There's no, so when he had 4 girls, you know, he is got to have 4 girls that he's got to sell out to men, you know, that'll be their husbands. So this was a way for him to have his children survive. And how it started, remember the story was, those girls were fighting those boys.
Right.
And he saw
that was a great scene. Right. When they described how they beat him up.
You know.
Right,
I
so
mean,
he didn't do
when
it.
When I was 12, okay, and I saw how things were here, you know, I saw, hey, boys participated sports, and boy, they get all this, you know,
acclaim.
Accolades.
Yeah, from mom and dad and everybody around us in the world. And you know what I said? Boy, that's really not fair.
Okay, and?
Okay, yeah.
And I think those girls felt the same way, seriously. And now I didn't like the hair cutting either, because that deals with your femininity.
Yeah.
But because that father figure was so strong, and he loved his children, he loved those girls, he wanted something more for them beyond what they could normally have. And that is what is the heart of this movie. And that's where I really see the heart of this guy who's raising, well, you shake your head.
I'm disagreeing with you, and I think I'm agreeing with Drew. I didn't see that motivation in him at all. His motivation was only to get them to wrestle. I don't think he was thinking, I want my daughters to be out of, because when he says to his wife, no more chores for them, he wasn't saying that because he wanted to elevate them. He was saying that because he wanted to train them every day, starting at 5 a.m.
Right. Take it easy on the girls.
To be wrestlers.
Easier.
So he can have his dream. So he can have his dream.
I mean, who wants to stay in the kitchen all day if you're
I understand what you're saying, and I understand that, but that wasn't his motivation as far as the movie I was watching. I just think he wanted them to wrestle. He wanted that gold for India. Great. That's a great Great thing to reach.
I don't
for.
think that makes him evil.
I'm
but
not saying
I
he was
think
evil. That's not.
Yeah, I think that's what drove him, and I think it was in many ways good for his children to break out of what
ultimately
their lives
it was
could
good
have
for
been.
his children.
I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm not going to say that Serena and Venus Williams had lives that have been a disappointment when they've achieved the kind of success. But I mean, I've known some people who have been pro athletes in different sports, not like football and stuff. I know Sean and Debbie, you obviously know people like that. But I mean, the amount of work and the dedication and the pain and everything is very respectable. But those people that chose to do it, it's different than they grew up doing it. But you could also make the argument, if you didn't grow up doing it, you'll never get there. And, you know, I think if he had had sons, he would be doing exactly the same thing. He just would have started younger. Yeah. And as to whether that's good or bad is a different conversation than the goal of winning a gold for India, which, I mean, you know, you want to win to represent your country. Okay, I get that. That's fine.
And if he had sons, what would have happened to the girls?
Right. Right.
Well,
I don't think
I will say the most distressing part of the haircutting to me was when they walked through the village and everyone laughed at them.
Right.
It was so cruel.
Right.
And, you know, I mean, kids laughing at you at school and whatever wasn't shocking, but like actual grown ass people were laughing at children because they cut their hair. That was very ugly. That really kind of bothered me.
And then they honored them with a parade.
I got back into it, but
then they honored them with a parade. That same
they definitely changed their minds.
It just showed the strength of what's internally going on. You know, what the world sees in you doesn't matter. It's what you see in yourself and what your father believed you can, accomplish. And that's what was the hero's journey in this film. I mean, those girls were champions, the glory of that. And their father was a champion as far as fathers go in their eyes.
And their mother.
So, exactly. The mother really stood by. And
that was a wonderful performance.
Yeah. She supported him the whole way. So
yeah, exactly.
No, for me, the inner strength was the girls. Yes, he had inner strength, but he always had.
And then
the girls were.
Because he believed in them.
Ultimately,
that was it. The coach did not, the strange coach did not believe in them. Remember, he was saying opposite of what their father was telling. Their father was telling them the right. And when he was coaching them from the stands, you know, he was telling them the right thing. You know, there's a particular skill in wrestling.
Have you guys ever coached? Have you guys ever coached sports where you have the parents screaming at you from the bleachers?
Oh yeah.
Isn't that the worst?
Yeah, it's the worst.
That is terrible.
There are many times I would have liked to lock somebody in a room like they did to him because, yes, he was a clown. He was a cliche. He was wrong. The coach was wrong. Okay, but you know, anyway, Chris.
Also, keep in mind, India is a country that doesn't support its athletes below the national level, just like our country. You wouldn't have the story of Foxcatcher if there was actually a national wrestling development program in this country. There are countries who do that. The Soviet Union certainly did that kind of stuff. So, you know, the national coach was ugly because he was so dismissive of like these boony people and what does he know? Right. Which is weird because their father was actually a champion wrestler and everything. But I think that you could tell this exact same story in America, and that's probably what King Richard is. I haven't seen it, but I know the story.
I'm avoiding that movie because of the whole Will Smith thing. I'm protesting.
Yeah, it hasn't been a priority for me either because of that. But that's not fair to the movie.
But I want to say something. I know Chris is about to jump in. I've seen a lot of Aamir Khan movies, not as many as John, of course.
No one has.
Yeah, but I do want to say I think this was his best performance.
I do too.
I think he was really, to me, there's the serious Aamir Khan and there's the goofy Aamir Khan. And this was serious. I think he went through a real wide range of emotions. I admired the body stuff he did because I know how hard it is to gain that much weight. Because I've done it myself.
You work out.
And it took me years to do it. He did it in a number of weeks.
I've seen you do handsprings and stuff. Come on.
Yeah. So, but I mean, to me, and the wrestling was unbelievable. And those girls she were fighting were so scary. I mean, if I'd walked against that, last girl in the second line, I would be like, oh my God, I got to get out of here. That last girl in particular, she was rough. I mean, this was a really terrific movie. And I thought it looked great too. I thought its use of color in particular It had a very wide palette, and it looked great.
Yeah, because once you got to the actual tournament and the mat was on the mat that he made the crayon drawing of, and they go to that. Yeah, it was gorgeous.
No, but even out in the fields, the green was so green.
I mean, it's
just beautiful.
The money's on the screen.
I said that to Debbie, and and
you guys are going to miss that in August. That's
he definitely needs a break, man. You can tell he needs a break. Wow.
But I really think this was my favorite Aamir Khan thing, and I think Ralph, you made a really good point. Well, I think it was you that it's odd that a star of his caliber will pick movies, even like Stars in Heaven, where he is not not the sole focus.
He didn't pick it; like he made it.
Yeah,
right.
That's the thing. He
that may be part of it. He's doing all kinds of stuff on the shoot, so he's got to have a little bit of break.
Now I heard he retired, but that's not the case, is it?
No,
there was rumors that he had retired. I looked it up on the internet a couple of years ago.
So Aamir Khan, if you're listening, please come to America. Coming to America.
You want him to do a remake of Coming to America? That would be awesome. Oh,
wouldn't that be great?
No, he could do it too.
It's funny.
I
like
funny.
I like Aamir Khan. I don't like or love all the movies that we've seen with him. I have respect for him as an actor and a big movie star and stuff. But turns out my jam is Aamir Khan sports movies, because I'll take Lagan and this all day. Mm-hmm. They are just so entertaining. They're so satisfying. And I don't know if you've seen me. I've been listening to the soundtrack to Dangal this whole time. It's a full of bangers. Just great. You can see why this movie was the biggest movie ever. It beat Bahubali 2 at the box office in terms of all-time earnings, and held that until Pathan, I guess, this year. And the music is all fantastic. And, he has excellent taste in popular entertainments. And I know that not every movie is perfect, but this one really grabbed me. So I continue to have him. He's not my favorite actor. I'm no John Quattrucci or anything, but he is very good, and he has some, I think, sometimes really interesting taste in the projects that he does, because he's like Tom Cruise. He can do what he wants to do, and this was clearly what he wanted to do, and it felt.
Yeah, but
really,
he's a way better actor than Tom Cruise.
I think they're
better.
different. I can't see Aamir Khan doing a Magnolia.
Yeah, I don't.
But we'll see.
I don't know.
Chris, am I going to be the only Debbie Downer on this one?
A little bit, yeah, Ralph. Here's the thing: is I'm like Drew. I've had not the most positive things to say about a lot of Aamir Khan films, but I love his sports movies. I came out of this one, and once again, it's an exciting movie. It kind of hits all the beats and everything, even though the bad evil coach was kind of cartoonish, but it's like you got to kind of have the bad guy in there. But I would say that I'm with Ralph on this, in the sense that it really, I really question this guy's motivation. I really do. Did they end up doing something wonderful and winning glory for their country? Yes, they did. And it's funny because I'm a big fan of the Olympics, and I know that it wasn't very long ago, maybe 3 or 4 Olympics ago at most, that the Indians won their first gold medal in the Olympics ever, and it was in 10-meter air rifle. That's BB gun.
Yep.
And it was such a big deal that they literally had one of their cable stations just played the medal ceremony on a loop for like days. But the point is that it's I do wonder about that, because there's this scene where I think it's Rajiva. She loses one of her first matches, and she can't sleep. She cries all night, and I wonder if she was crying because she was upset at her loss, or she was crying because she let her dad down. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
I think it was both.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, I look at that and I think to myself, is she upset because she has lost, or is she upset because she has let him down? And he's the father, he's the head of the family, and in many ways, they do. Especially after that. It is a powerful scene where the young bride explains to them that, hey, my life is now laid out for me. It's done. I'm 14, and I know what the next 60 years is going to look like. You guys still have an opportunity to do something different.
Yeah. So
I think
writing,
every bride says
yeah,
that.
but the writing about the coach, that's a Hollywood thing. But her speech to them on her wedding night, that probably happened.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty powerful thing.
I'm not saying it's not powerful. I just don't, I don't
but
know.
at the same time, you have to sit there and you wonder, maybe these girls would have been very passionate about, playing an instrument, or maybe they would have been extremely passionate about art
or sweeping,
acting, or maybe, oh my gosh, maybe they really did just want to be a wife and mother. I mean, that's a possibility.
Yeah.
I mean, they might have seen their mother, who has, in their eyes, maybe a fulfilling life, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that if that is what they wanted. So once again, it does, it is a complex story, and I think that gives it a lot of depth, because you don't just come out of it in a raw emotion and be like, oh, yay, they did a great thing, good on them. But at the same time, it's not the story of this crazy overbearing father. To some extent, I mean, he is crazy and overbearing, but who manipulates his daughters. Something good does come out of it. I guess the part for me that I always think about when we watch these movies is, how many other fathers and mothers are out there, forcing their kids into something they don't really want to do, never make it to the nationals, that their entire childhoods are spent, playing, travel ball, and they play one sport 12 months a year, and they're traveling like crazy, and they don't get a scholarship to college.
Right.
Right.
Well, here, poison fact, Chris. Funny thing, we got a hold of a football, and I was throwing it. I showed Mara, little Mara, that was on the podcast last week.
Mm-hmm.
I threw the football to her, and I just explained to her how you throw a spiral, and you hold on to the laces. And my gosh, she caught every ball. She threw them great, and she's really into it. So much so that all the people around us were watching us, and she was catching everyone, and I was catching hers, and she was, back and forth. And so I bought her, it's coming, it should have been here today, from Amazon, a little football, that she could throw around. But then I wanted her to watch Dangal, just to get her an idea. I said, come on. But, she said, do you think I could play football? And I said, I don't know. Maybe you can. But
maybe she could get the bronze.
But I really don't know if I want her to be playing such a rugged sport with brain damage. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that would put me off as well.
Yeah, no, I don't know. So we'll see what she wants, but it's up to her.
Here's one thing.
USA, she can do. But the only thing she's been told not to do is to be an astronaut, because she can't go away to Mars for 5 years. Because I'm,
Mars is
old.
She could just go into orbit and come back. I mean, don't.
Yeah, but once you do that, then you want to go to Mars and you want to go to Jupiter, all that stuff.
That's not wrong. You're right.
Debbie, Mars is going to be a one-way trip for the first people who go there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's why.
But think of how far you can throw a football on Mars, though.
Exactly.
Miles.
I didn't even think of
Wait till Tom
Point,
Cruise
Ralph.
makes a Mission
Wow.
Impossible on Mars. That'll be exciting.
But all in all, I mean, like I said, I in some ways I like the fact that the movie isn't cut and dry, that it's not a simple straight sports hero movie, and that it does throw in a lot of this stuff. And it's one of the things. While even though I've criticized Aamir Khan and some of his films in the past, I have said I feel like he is a social filmmaker. I think he always
definitely
places some element of social, whether it's calling out social ills or whatever. I feel like in a lot of his movies, like the Stars on Earth movie, which I did not care for. I did love the scenes where in the
Stars on Earth
school, I love the scenes in the school where there's a lot of kids that he is putting forth that are probably really marginalized. And that's in a lot of societies. I'm not specifically saying in Indian society, but all in all, great performances all around. Obviously, it looks great. I mean, I think at this point, we should only point out the Indian movies that don't look good, because it's kind of almost like I've said it before, they have obviously a deep bench when it comes to cinematography.
Yeah, it's the color. The color. I don't know what it is, but they really know how to get the colors on.
I think
I'm looking at it's the color of the dirt, even the mud that they put up, and the way he designed the thing. And
look, from RRR, which was our first one.
Well, that's
the landscapes alone, unbelievable.
That's hyper. They really hyped that up. But this one,
I really think American filmmakers have de-emphasized color. It isn't that we don't that you know, during like the Technicolor period, every woman's dress was picked. And I think there was a period in the 70s where they were trying to get more naturalistic and to a degree uglier.
Dull.
They were trying. They were trying.
Oh,
to
there's still
do that.
Wes Anderson does it, right? His color palette. I mean, unless there's specific movies that are color palette. I'm thinking of like even Autofocus, that film about Bob Crane, starts very 60s and bright and happy, and slowly gets into the 70s, dark, dark, dark. But I mean, the Indian films are consistently gorgeous. I mean, I guess some of the stuff where some of the places they shoot are just naturally beautiful. You point
look at any Malayalam film.
Right. You put a camera there and it's going to look great, except these guys really know what they're doing. Those scenes running through the fields. And like I said, the wrestling scenes at the end, those things were staged and looked gorgeous.
Yeah.
I'm cold on the film. I'm not cold on him as a human being who makes movies. I think he has messages in his films, and I appreciate his messages. I am not like John. I don't think he's the greatest actor in the world, like a De Niro type, but I don't know. I don't see it like he does. But I just didn't like his character in this film. I was cold to the character, not to the guy playing the character, but I just didn't.
Well,
I didn't believe his motivations.
I did.
I mean, I believed his motivation, but it wasn't.
I mean, it's a real story, so I mean,
I'm not
you cannot
okay.
believe it, but it's real.
Well, I'm not
happened.
saying we don't know. They're telling us what his, the film is telling us.
Well, it's based on what he. I mean,
I
I guess he could have lied. Look, the first hour is an uncomfortable thing, but I think it pays off with what happens with the girls. So it doesn't make it any easier. Some of it's painful. The other thing I think we should say, there's a lot of humor in this movie. There's a lot of funny scenes in this movie that we've never, we haven't even touched upon it, but there's really funny scenes in this movie.
The nephew
when
was
they got to
comic
eat,
relief.
They got to eat meat because they're vegetarian. They have to eat meat to build up protein. Then they don't want the girls to wrestle, but then they realize, hey, we'll get more people if they do wrestle, and the winner gets 20 rupees, she gets 50 rupees. I mean, it's just good stuff. But I'm not disagreeing with your take on the early part of the movie. And we can sit here and argue about the motivation, whatever, but I think it's why it pays off so much in the end. And when you read anything about the girls, because it wasn't just those two that he ended up training. So as tough as he was on those two, more women wanted him to train them to become wrestlers.
Well, I'm sure King James would have had. I agree. I that's probably the positive thing that came out is India had women who won the wrestling, and he built a school for women. It was the ending. What came out of it is fantastic. It was the journey to get there that I was cold on. I guess. You look back, well, this is successful, but like these guys are saying, how many people are not successful doing the same thing, who don't end up being champions, who are tortured like that? Not tortured, but training.
When you're in training like that, you're not just going for the gold. You're going for the gold inside yourself, your body. When you're an athlete, you're like doing something to change your body. You're getting muscle, you're getting strength. And that's so rewarding just in itself. You're competing.
I totally understand. I'm in the Baseball Hall of Fame, so I get it.
Oh my God!
I worked hard for that. The first 13 years of my life, I built to that plateau at 13. So I totally get what you're saying.
I wanted to share.
And my dad was the opposite of what this guy did. My dad said to me, "Son,
do whatever you want.
You're not going to be big enough or tall enough for baseball. Do something else." Now, I wasn't Dustin Pedora who said, "F you, Dad, I'm going to be the greatest baseball player that ever lived."
That's weird because my father said to me, "You can do anything you want, John." That's so weird.
Maybe he thought.
And I said it the day after his birthday too. But he literally said to me, "You're going to be too short to play baseball."
Yeah, you could have been a jockey.
Yeah, there's that too.
John, you're not that.
It's that line from Bull Durham. I could have been not Bull Durham.
You could have been
Shoeless Joe. I could have played baseball, but then I wouldn't have been a doctor. And that's a lot there. But anyway,
Moonlight Graham. That's right.
I do want to point out
one little factoid that I learned. I guess it's this isn't like I read this in a couple of different articles. It's apparently at some point Aamir Khan wasn't sure that he was going to be in the movie. He was going to produce the movie, and one of the people on the short list to play the role that he ended up playing was Mohanlal, who we know from the original Malayalam version of Drishyam.
Oh.
So
He
that
would
would
have
have
been good.
that would have been interesting too. And
Yeah,
I mean, I tend to
I can
think
see
of
that.
Aamir Khan as more movie star energy, and somebody like Mohanlal is more realistic. I would watch both versions. I mean, I think they were very satisfying. But I thought that was kind of neat because we just discovered Mohanlal last week. So.
Yeah. No, the girls were great in this, especially the young girls.
Oh,
the
yeah.
way they played their scenes, and the repertoire they had with each other, and the comedy within them, and the nephew kid of theirs, who I thought was her brother at one point, and I realized.
Well, they keep calling
he
them
didn't have a
sisters and
son.
stuff.
I know, and the uncle, and
Uncle,
but you know,
uncle.
it's very confusing. So,
But
Sean, what were you
everyone's
going to say? Sean, what were you going to say?
Oh, I was going to say one thing that amused me watching the film were the training montages. I mean, in America, you're used to like the Rocky theme when they're working out, or, Eye of the Tiger, these like really rousing things.
Yeah.
And in this, it's sort of like the songs are, Dad, you're doing us injury. Dad, you're terrible.
except
Dad,
Dangal, they
let
kept
us
saying
stop."
Dangal, which means wrestling, right? Dangal is
Yeah.
You
wrestling,
wrestle
yeah.
with things in your life.
Yeah.
So,
But I thought that those training scenes were hilarious. And
Well, and every song
this
was
is
on
really
point with the
a
lyrics.
really good movie.
Yeah, and I really want to say thank you to Wolverina to bring this film to John for us to watch it, and so much so, Wolverina. Our next screenplay, I'm going to have the heroine, and her name is going to be Wolverina.
Well,
Wow, man, you guys,
Because I love that name so much.
you guys are unbelievable. I have
if that
to.
doesn't get you, if that doesn't get you to hit the
That's
like
that's
button, nothing
pandering.
will.
No.
That is definitely pandering. Wow, oh, so smooth.
No,
too.
it's the truth. I'm going to use her name as.
Well, Debbie, we got to record this 6 more times so we can put in a different name every time. So
Right.
perfect.
Yeah, because somebody else sent.
Nobody
the film
has a
too.
name like that.
That's true.
That's not a normal name.
And I first called her Wolverina Pagan, and then she sent me a note. It's Wolverina, and it's like the devil Pagan. I
Pagan.
said, oh, okay.
Pagan isn't the devil. Settle down.
That's
Well,
a group
what
of
she said.
people who are
Yeah.
paganists.
Not that the devil is
The
real. but
bad
you know what I
guys,
mean.
the movie Dragnet. Come on.
Yeah, that's right. Christopher Plummer.
People against goodness and niceness.
That's right.
That's right.
Christopher Plummer. He
Good
was
pull,
great.
Chris.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, well, let's rate this one. How many?
I'm going to go with 5.
5.
Thumbs are up or Ladus?
I'll give
doing
it 5
Ledoux.
Ledoux. I'll give it 5 Ledoux.
5.
5.
I loved it.
Loved it.
I'm going to give it 4 Ladus because even though I found a lot of stuff in it to be a little bit disturbing, I liked it because it's challenging. It makes you think, And
Yeah.
that's always a good thing.
I'm with you, Chris. 4 Ladus for similar reasons.
I'm going 3 Ledoux. 3 Ledoux, and 2 of those are for the 2 actresses playing the kids, and the
Nice.
other one
Wait a
is
minute.
for
Two.
Yeah, they deserve
wait a minute.
sweets.
How many Ladus did you give it?
3.
3.
And you gave it for each of the actresses that
I
played?
said
There
2 of
was
those
2.
Ledoux are for the 2 actresses. I don't know.
And
what
who's the
third
one other Ladus?
I don't know. I don't know. I'll throw it out. Who knows?
Just 2 more things. The director, we didn't mention this at the beginning. Director was Nitesh Tiwari, and the mother, who I thought was really good in this, was Sakshi Tanwar. Excellent. The whole
Yeah.
cast was really good in this movie.
Oh,
The
you know
guy
what?
who owned the chicken place,
Yeah.
who didn't want to give him a break, but he said, if you do this, you can use this to advertise. And he's got these big signs.
Yeah,
No,
that
he was
was very
great. There was a
funny.
lot of funny stuff in this film. There really
Yeah.
was.
I think this film had more screenwriters than any other Indian film we saw.
That's true. There were a lot of people credited. That's
Yeah,
true.
I think there
saw
were
that.
3 credited screenwriters. I think I've only ever seen 2.
Yeah, it wasn't
Usually
like
only
Armageddon with 11 or whatever, but
Yeah.
it was a lot.
Well, there you go.
All right.
All right. Well, that's a good one.
Dongle.
Good one for me to take my break on, I guess. Get those comments about my negative review. All right. So
Yeah, I don't think this one's going to help.
that's all right. I'm just giving my truth. It's my truth.
No, it's your truth.
That's right. That's what I
It's
said.
not
It's
Aamir
your
Khan's
truth. It's your truth because your father didn't tell you what your truth was before you could find your
My
own
dad
truth.
definitely
And I
said
think that's fortunate.
Baseball's.
Yeah,
not
he
for
always
me.
thought Ralph was going to end up.
That's why.
not-
That's
not
why.
in a
That's
good
why I got in the
place.
Hall of Fame. I said I'm going to prove to him I can do this, and that's how
You showed him,
I got in the Hall of Fame.
and he was very proud of you.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
Yeah.
He's like, God, you're the shortest
Maybe-
guy here.
Maybe he used reverse psychology with you, Ralph.
No, he was right. I gave up right then and there. I was fine.
Yeah, you
Sometimes
played,
your
you
parents
played
didn't
over
know
30
you.
baseball.
I
But
played
how
right.
long-
I played till I was
Got the-
50. I played till I was
Okay,
50.
so
But
let's not.
I guess
Oh yeah, I
I-
gave up.
You
I
went
gave up
on.
this
You went
dream.
on. spring
the-
I played till I was
Little League.
50.
In the little league that I played in, there was an award not just for one player on your team, but for one player in the whole league, and it was for heart. It was for the kid that tries the hardest and still sucks. And I won that award.
Normally they're in right
we're
field.
so proud
I
of
won
you.
that
I was gonna
award
say,
too.
That's the
For
guy who
every-
usually keeps the scorebook.
Yeah, no, I played, but poorly, but I tried, and I won both years that I played. Little
Wow.
League, so-
Wow.
That's
A lot of
pretty
heart, a lot of heart in that.
And
kid.
so did my weightlifting coach.
Only he
back
could
in
catch
the
a
day, so-
baseball.
No, if I could catch a baseball, I wouldn't have won. I would have just been another kind of
Hey,
disappointing
oh my
player. Instead, I was
All right.
I was so
I
disappointed.
want to brag
that I was
about my
worthy of
sports career
recognition.
too, because I played baseball, and my brother had preceded me, who was a very good athlete, but he I don't know, maybe punched a coach or something, but he was not.
Oh.
Coach hated him, so when I came up, I was a tiny little kid. He gave me this huge, oversized uniform that made me look like a clown. And I played, and I got the Hart Award.
And you
But
said
also,
someday I'm going to fill
even though
this
I
up.
played every game, I never
What'd you say,
made an out because I walked literally every time. Because I was so short, no one could hit my strike zone.
Nice.
And,
yeah, I
and the
got on
coach is
base
like,
once. I know
just
that
don't
feeling.
swing the bat. You're going to get on base. And it worked, and I got the Hart
It's
Award
a good
too.
way for me to end my career for this month. All right, so you guys enjoy your 10-ish minute reviews.
We will.
I might watch a couple of them. depending
Ralph,
on-
I mean, you can do one of them, can't you?
I
in the month?
definitely could do one.
Yeah, all
as long
right.
as I'm
I'll
not
bring you
having
on
to,
for one.
produce anything, I can.
I just
can
want you to
definitely
be a little
guest.
more positive. That's all. I mean, you're
About
bringing
the
me
film?
totally down.
about the
Well,
film.
maybe
Depends
Doom
on the film.
too.
You guys are talking about great actors. You never mentioned the guy from the Lunchbox. We've seen a lot of really good.
Oh, he's
Oh,
Oh,
sure.
yeah,
you know,
good.
Seen a
I
lot of
mean, it's
wonderful
like
stuff.
He
Aamir
is, but-
Khan.
but-
Aamir Khan is not the only actor in India.
I didn't
Right.
say he was, but when you look at it doesn't forget it.
Look, how many movies are just that we've been lucky. We've watched I don't know 30 or 40 movies. John's watched 130 or 140 movies, and most of the ones that we've watched have been at least good, if not great. Obviously, Doom was a big disappointment, but otherwise, I think we've been lucky, and that just tells you that there's a deep bench in that industry. Which
and also it shows you how good we've been guided, how well we've been
That's
guided
true.
by the
Let's definitely kiss some ass there because the fans have been very supportive.
Well,
and I
we wouldn't have
appreciate it.
known where to start. I mean, how do you start? I mean, this is.
Well, I mean, you knew where to start. I got it started. You're welcome.
You did.
But,
You got the ball
But
rolling.
as to what was next, I couldn't have told when we watched RR. I couldn't have told you that there was a different industry in southern India. So we've learned a lot, which is pretty.
Has it
exciting.
been a year, Drew?
No, December.
It's,
December.
yeah, it's like 9 months or something.
Like a pregnancy?
I just
I
want to say
think
one
this
more
is our
thing. I just want to say
190th
one more.
episode.
I want to say one more thing about Aamir Khan. Okay,
Jesus, John.
it's not to undermine any other actor that we've seen, but when you look at the breadth of the performances he does
And
and
his
how
breadth.
vastly different some of the roles are and how well he plays them, that's different than like Ajay Devgan. Because
Hey.
but I love his characters, but it's almost the same character every time. Shah Rukh Khan's the same way. It doesn't take away from their performances, but it's not the same.
How do you? I
thing.
don't understand how you can say that.
I can,
Amir
because it's
Khan is a
true.
lot like Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise cannot
No,
be Tom
Not
Cruise.
even.
Tom Cruise. I'm saying you can't bury him in a character. He is Tom Cruise. Amir
John
Khan's
Wayne.
ears are always sticking out. He's the same guy. I mean,
No,
you're giving him
in this
you're giving
movie, he
so
was a-
much credit. It's like wow.
Okay. All right.
I don't
but-
know. I
but-
would recommend that.
But
you
you're the
watch a
actor
movie
here.
called
I can't say
Collateral
anything
for
because
Tom
I
Cruise,
never
and you
acted
can
in
watch
my
our
life.
episode.
I never walked on the boards or whatever you call it.
Walked on the board.
What do you call it?
Are we on a pirate ship now? What's going on with that? Walk on the board.
Ship of
What does it
Theseus.
mean?
Yeah.
Well, Ralph, I've known you've taken a walk on the wild
You've
side.
never walked on the
The boards. What do you
Grand
call it? The
White
boards.
Way.
What is it? When you walk on
The
the boards.
stage,
You
Ralph,
tread the boards.
There's something about the
Tread the
boards with
boards.
an actor. I get it.
I'm
Ralph has
bored
not.
with this
Ralph has never
discussion.
tread the boards. I understand.
You want to comment on editing all day? I will take everything you say.
Not
But
really.
when
but
you
that's
talk
fine.
about
Yeah, I don't know why.
he's like Tom Cruise, like it's the same guy.
Not.
That is
I'm not. No.
so-
What my point is.
Not even close.
My point is Tom Cruise. If he's in a film, it's Tom Cruise. Amir Khan. If he's in a film, it's Amir Khan playing that character. He doesn't
That's
get
what an
lost.
actor does.
That's Shah Rukh Khan.
Okay.
You read anything about the acting in Indian cinema, That's, you keep hearing that all
And
the
if you
time.
subscribe to Patreon, there's a wrestling match between the Cartrucci brothers over Aamir Khan.
Listen, this is why you want to subscribe. You know what I'm saying? This is crazy. You're missing some good stuff. It's sad that we're not going to do this for a month. I just got a bad feeling about this. You know, a lot of times people say I'm only going to take a month break, and then you never see him again. I'm just getting a bad vibe from our leader, and I don't know. How do you guys
He's
feel?
entitled to take a break.
He needs to take a break, man. Everybody
I believe
charge
his
him back.
quote is "the show must go on."
The show must go
believe
on.
that
If I
his
said,
quote.
"Oh, anybody want to take this over and do it? Be my guest."
First of all,
I
no
will
one can do
say,
it like you
It's
do
a
it.
lot of work, John.
We did survive one near miss early on, like on their on like our 8th or 10th episode, the first Ladies' Choice episode.
I quit for 6 months.
Yeah.
Oh, that drove you
Not
for 6
only
That
did
was
you quit,
shattering.
That was so bad. COVID brought us back.
that was so bad that
that
you had like
I
we
was-
had 4 episodes in the can, and you wouldn't even put those.
I
up.
couldn't even think about editing any more of those. So yeah, we've been constantly doing this since COVID.
I
So
know.
that's what, 4 years now, 3 years, right?
I think this is our 190th episode.
yeah, when we
of the
started doing it
Mothership.
like this, we haven't stopped. It's been every week, and this
Well,
is just a tough
My
month.
first
for me.
episode was June 2020, and you guys had already been doing it online for a while. So
Yeah, that's what I mean. We started pretty early, early COVID.
You were. It was such a hard, difficult thing to get you on, Drew, because after that first episode, Ralph just turned to me and goes, "So is he on for now on?"
Aw.
That was
Same thing with
that
Chris.
was-
He bumped into Chris at a restaurant and said, "Hey, how you doing, Chris? You want to be on a show?" I mean, it was
Yeah,
great.
it's true.
It
There
just
might be
shows up.
somebody he meets who.
John,
like,
how
is
did you
moving or
join the
something.
show?
You said to me, "Look, I'm doing this podcast, and I got to tell you something. The
Here we go.
personalities are pretty weak.
There we go.
We need a little
Yeah,
spark. Would
yeah.
you join us?"
I think you
And I
begged.
said,
You
"Ralph,
begged me to get
I would
on.
be so happy to help."
I think you begged me to get on. So let's just be clear, okay? You needed this show
Well, I just looked.
more than
I've
we
done
needed you,
100
and now we can't live without any of
142
us.
Episodes.
Now we can't live
I've
without
done
any of
100.
us. So
I've done
I will say
142
this.
episodes of this show, and it makes me think, what have I been doing with myself?
I know 142.
Of this show, with plus 38 movie strangers and a bunch of other stuff.
Holy,
But 11
Hey,
11
Sean.
stream quests. It's a lot.
How did it come to be that I'm on this show?
We did. Didn't we do a ladies' night or something? And you were on it.
No,
Yeah,
no.
and
We
then
did the
she came
ladies'
back
night.
with
Then we
COVID.
quit
No.
for 6 months. When COVID started, you guys started grouping up.
Well, also,
Wojo
too-
and Brad got in a square, and then you and Sean got in a square.
Well, there were 2 things. One, I wanted Debbie on to and to fight any criticisms of the misogyny of James Bond, because Debbie liked Sean Connery as James Bond, and then she wanted to come on when we did Thing from Another World to defend the female scientist, if you remember correctly.
And then what? Yeah.
And then you were on forever.
And then you stayed, which is fine.
And then we said we got to have Debbie on every week
Yeah, we
because
can.
you said something that
I
was
say,
completely off the
actually-
wall, and we said that's what we need every show. A little bit of that. A
I-
little
what?
bit of.
What
You
was
said
that?
something. You know how you kind of go off on a tangent sometimes,
Yeah.
like
Sometimes,
non-related to anything
sometimes.
we're talking about, but it sparks everybody. It's like, okay, that's a Debism.
All right.
I love that.
You guys keep this
Can I
up. I'll
ask-
never
can
come
I
back.
ask-
All
Let
right.
me ask an important question. Are we still doing the show right now?
Yes.
yeah,
Okay.
this is
Yeah.
gold, Jerry. It's gold.
Like I said, we'll see. So yeah, September. I'll be back in September.
Okay, great.
Uh,
September
See
1st?
you
I don't know, whatever that. I'm
In
moving.
September.
All right, that's it. All right, everybody, have a good week.
We're
have a
so
good
glad
month.
we had this time
Summer
together.
Have a good month. I'll
See
see you
you soon,
guys.
John.
We'll laugh or
Uh,
sing
I'll
a
see you guys on
song.
10-ish minute
As
reviews.
we just
Okay.
get started,
All right.
and before you know it, Ralph says goodbye.
Goodbye.